Hey everybody, welcome back. Good to see you here. Listen, do yourselves a favor. Go get yourself a coffee, relax, watch this video, chill, and just enjoy the moment. Listen, we got a really great video here today. This one is called The Shack. This is a really fun project, one that I'm pretty proud of. Let's take a look at this. This is a sheet metal shack somewhere in the middle of the desert that's just run down. Maybe this is, post-apocalyptic, who knows? All I know is that it was so fun to build, and this looks great. We got some scattered terrain, we got some tufts of grass, we got lots of things going on in this project. So I'll tell you what, let's go to the video, I'll show you how I did it. All right, friends, we are gonna get into it. So the first thing I did was I took some foam core board and I measured out my dimensions and just simply cut this up. So this is going to be the basic structure. This is going to be the walls and the roof for the shack. Simply cut these measurements out and we're going to put it together with some hot glue. Nice and simple. You know, the easiest and the simplest projects, I think, turn out the best. You know, when a person tries to do something really complicated, at least in my case, I noticed that either I put the super amount of effort into it or it just does not turn out well. But the simpler projects like this, you know, this is probably like an intermediate project. These things really turn out well for me. So I think this is where I just this is my road and I stay in my lane and things turn out well. So anyway, just hot gluing all these pieces together. So the four sides and the top for the roof. And then after that was done, I took some just simple printer paper, cut that up into strips, and I'm going to run it through my corrugating tool. So this just puts some waves in it, put some corrugations in the material you put through with this tool. It's effective, it's fast, and it does a really good job. So after that was all run through the tool there, I just simply cut it up into fairly uniform squares. There were some differences which, you know, I did on purpose because I wanted some overlap with the corrugation, and that's going to give it this really interesting look. You know, the overlap going to give it some seams to make it look really cool. So then what I did was I went back to the shack and I started cutting out the door, and then I worked on cutting out one window just right beside the door. This is a really simple shack, you know, somebody's down on their luck type thing, or perhaps they just choose to live, in something like this. So, it's pretty simple, just a door and a window. So here's the Mod Podge that I'm putting on, and this is just gonna glue down those pieces of paper. I was quite careful with it. I didn't want to smash it, didn't want to press too hard because that obviously would not show the corrugations. So just put it down nice and easy, and as you can see here, I'm kind of staggering these pieces. I don't want it to look too uniform because obviously that's not, what this type of shack is. It's not built perfectly. It's a rough job. So there you can see all the paper's been put on, and the corrugations show up very nicely, as you can see there, and lots of seams. So this is cool. Hey everybody, if you're enjoying this video, please do me a favor. Hit the like and subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. Let's go back to the video. Okay, so now as you can see, I'm hot gluing this down to the base. Now this base is a smaller picture. This is a wooden canvas, I guess you can say. It's all wood. And I tell you, I don't know. I asked my wife to see if she had any bases because I ran out, and she gave me this, and I'm sold. I am going to be using these bases, I think, from here on out because these look cool and they're perfect. So anyway, moving on, I started to black paint and Mod Podge the whole thing, and then I took some silver and some white and a touch of black, and I did a mixture color there, and I painted that whole thing over the black Mod Podge. Then I took a few different color paints, and I'm going to paint individual pieces of tin here, the corrugated tin, and this is what it looks like. Now, you may be thinking, oh my goodness, this is a patchwork of color that shouldn't be here, but once again, hang on, we're gonna put multiple layers on and it's gonna be dulled and it's gonna look really cool. So after that was all dry, broke out the black wash, and this is the first of a few layers that's gonna really mute these colors, that's gonna bring everything together. So as you can see there, it slightly darkens it up, and it's gonna have some interesting, it's gonna have interesting effects on the valleys and the corrugations. So anyway, after I did that, I added another layer of a kind of a washed out silver. And then here, as you can see, I'm using white paint, and this is a dry brush. So this is going over the whole thing. And there's even more gonna happen after this. So now that I got that done, I'm using a oil-based wash here. Now this is like a rust colored wash. Now this is really cool because all these seams and all these corrugations, when you're using an oil wash, this really, it just spreads. It's like, you can't believe how much this stuff spreads. And it just follows the natural seams and the natural valleys, and it just makes it look so authentic. So that's what I used here. I went through all the seams and I added some running parts as well down there. So this really turned out cool. So then I made a couple of pieces of lumber out of XPS foam, and then I put it on the window there just to, just to show that it's been boarded up. You better not try to get in here type of vibe going on there. So that looked pretty cool. Then I used a paper straw because, well, crafting, that's about all they're good for, these stupid paper straws. So I used that to make a chimney and painted that up and got it all looking cool. So then after that was done, I was ready to move on to the base, and again, just some Mod Podge glue and use some of my sawdust flocking. And I'm just gonna spread this around the whole base here. This is going to be the deserty dirt type of feeling for this project. Then I used some more Mod Podge, and I just went around on a few spots. Now these are gonna be tufts of grass that are fighting for life, that's showing through this muddy, hot, deserty, rough area. So this turns out pretty cool. Here it is, some static grass. I used a couple of different colors of static grass. I wanted to give it a little bit more of an interesting color, interesting texture. And then after that was done, just a drop of Mod Podge, and I used some 12mm static grass, kind of rolled it in between my fingers and then stabbed it into that drop of glue. So there's really simple, really fast tufts of grass, just to give it, like I said, a little bit more depth and texture, and it looks really cool, as you can see there. So then the next thing I did was I grabbed a little bit of brown paint and I just made a pathway in the dirt, in the mud there. And that was basically about it for that, just to give that a little bit of a different look. And then I glued on the overhang for the door. So that was just hot glued, glued down the legs, the posts there. And that was pretty much it for that. This looks really interesting with this overhang. I wanted to make sure I had something else other than just the basic structure. So this really brought the project together, and I think it looks really cool. But it needs more. So I broke out the old 3D printer, printed some pallets, some oil drums, a bunch of tires, and then I wanted an old fridge that's, that's on the front porch type idea, that's all broken down and rusted, but we haven't taken it to the dump yet, type idea. So I painted up all these pieces here, and here's the final project, guys. I hope you like it. Thanks so much for sticking around, and we'll see you guys again.